Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. All right, listen, we now have the table set for Decision 2024, and the election is, less than 3 months away now. We still have a couple of debates that are planned, and the last debate was so fun. Remember, I was telling you before that debate, this is going to be the first time a debate's actually been consequential since JFK and Nixon. We've never seen a debate where some dude did so bad he had to drop out. So what about this next debate? I expect there's a decent chance it could be just as squirrely. My first guest, Raven Harrison, we should have a debate party this time. We talked about it last time, and I felt like that was a missed opportunity because it did end up being so historic. Do you have any plans for the debates thus far?
Yes, I'm going to do the same thing we did last time, and we're going to have a bingo. We have Kamala bingo. So if you've got chosen a radical communist to be your running mate on your center square, you're good.
Right. The Walz is your center square. No, I mean, let's like pick a venue and invite people and, I don't know, have like a microphone and a speaker up front and talk to the crowd. And then I don't know, just sounds fun.
Yes. We'll make sure everybody gets a designated driver because it's going to be that kind of bingo.
All right, Raven Harrison, we've now had a full day to digest Tim Walz as the vice presidential pick for Kamala Harris. Your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts is it's a gift to Republicans that's going to keep on giving. The information that I have behind the scenes is that Josh Shapiro was supposed to be the pick, but the big wigs behind the scenes of the Democratic Party were not okay with him being Jewish with the middle of all this conflict.
Ooh, so that's not very nice. That's not very inclusive. That's not very equitable, right? That's not very diverse.
Very communistic, very in line with the Democrats. So now they've got Walz, that's one of the first complaints I heard when Trump picked JD Vance. I heard they picked some old white guy, and then they picked this guy, and whose claim to fame is letting Minnesota burn to the ground during the BLM riots and putting tampons in the boys' bathroom.
Yeah, that's that was brought up on the show yesterday. That's sort of a litmus test, not just for me, but for a lot of people. Because I have Democrat friends, none of them believe that men can have babies or have periods. So he's beyond no one can call him a moderate, but that's kind of in line with his mate on the ticket there. He lines up pretty well with her.
Well, it's not moderate. It's, she's far left and he's further left. And if you looked this morning, he's been giving interviews. His interview today went on live television and said free speech should be controlled by the government. The government should decide, there should be no free speech unless the government deems it appropriate. That is communism. And he's also being photographed with a hunting weapon that he's trying to confiscate. He said they're going to confiscate all the weapons, and he keeps pushing this thing with with JD Vance having sex with a seat cushion, which somebody made up and had to answer for. And, yeah, I made that up, and that's they're talking about. They have no policy points. There's no policy, James, on the website. No, what we're going to do, what we have done. It's all Trump and paying rappers to endorse them.
Well, here's the great part about you bringing that up. That was the first time that's been brought up on my show. Because I saw memes and jokes about it before I saw the story. And so then when I tried to look something up, I immediately found like the path where it said, no, I've read the guy's book. It says nothing about that in there. And so I never brought it up on the show. And I thought it would die off after like a day or two. But they were making comments about it, just yesterday?
They were making comments at the rally. He's made a couple of interviews about it saying that this guy is weird. Now, if you really want to see weird, I would get banned from your show from telling you the rumors that are going around about Walz and horses right now. Just make sure you don't do it on a full stomach. But I'm just telling you, that's where they want to go. They've got no platform. She was polling in the single digits, and you got two communists talking about protecting democracy when nobody cast a vote for either one of these two.
I'm definitely not going to ask about the horse thing, so don't worry about it. So on the stolen valor front, I was going to play this clip from JD Vance later, but let me run it by you first. This is Vance on Walz's. He's claiming has stolen valor. Hang on a second. Here we go.
As a Marine who served his country in uniform, when the United States Marine Corps, when the United States of America asked me to go to Iraq to serve my country, I did it. I did what they asked me to do it, and I did it honorably, and I'm very proud of that service. When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him because he said that and he was making a point about gun control. He said we shouldn't allow weapons that I used in war to be on America's streets. Well, I wonder, Tim Walz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq?
Okay, that was the first I've heard of that. Was from J.D. Vance's speech last night. Is that true? That sounds...
It is absolutely correct. He was due to be deployed to Iraq. He dropped out of the military, and he did not serve, and he got roasted by his platoon that was out there. He left them. That's what the stolen valor. There is supposed to be an honor. There's supposed to be integrity among our military, and he is a disgrace to be talking about J.D. Vance's record. J.D. Vance went to Iraq and was deployed to Iraq, and Tim Walz is ridiculous. So, yeah, it is a correct fabrication that he carried a weapon. He did not carry a weapon. He's just parading one around now saying, look, I'm a hunter. Well, those are the weapons you're trying to take. So you need to figure out what side of the fence you're going to be on.
Well, we had a response from the Tim Walz camp on that accusation, and it was just a short little clip here. So I don't know what to make of that, Raven.
Okay, you're going to get us both booted, but that's pretty much it. Is people like that should not talk about integrity and morality. We need to leave that off the argument. He has no right to question the record of a veteran when he did not show up. He did not go.
All right, Raven Harrison, how do they find you outside of the James Show?
They'll find me right now. We've been pushing really hard. TheRoarMission.com. We're getting these vets fed and the resources they need for the election coming up, or they can find me at RavenHarrison.com.
Thank you very much, and I'm definitely not going to Google your horse rumor. Thank you very much. Your thoughts on Tim Walz as the pick thus far? 800-288-9227. It's your chance to be my political pundit guest on the James Show. 800-288-9227. Is this helping? Is this hurting? Because in the latest polls, Kamala's gained a little bit. Are you worried? 800-288-9227. It's the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome back to the James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I am your host, James Parker. Do me a favor, tell someone about the show. And if you have anything to say and you can't call in because, I don't know, you don't want your coworkers to know that you're fluffing off right now, you can sneak me messages. I was just answering like 4 different people from Facebook Messenger there. And I'm easy to find. You know how to find people? James Parker. I'm on the radio in Dallas, WBAP. It'll pop up. So find me Instagram, Facebook, whatever you're already on. Send me a message. Or you can call 800-288-9227. And I'm very happy for this first call because I don't know what he's going to say, but he's listed as a Democrat. And I probably should have said something in the last segment. I'm more interested in talking to Team Blue right now than Team Red. I've only heard from, 2 guys yesterday about their thoughts on Tim Walz. And right now, it's not that your opinion doesn't mean anything, but their opinion means a little bit more. So 800-288-9227. Let's start with Eddie in Dallas. You're on the James Show on WBAP.
Hey.
Welcome, Eddie. Your thoughts?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, my thoughts is I like Tim. I like him for what he agree with far as like the abortions and then legalizing marijuana.
Okay.
I like those thoughts on those things. And, both parties just got its baggage. I feel like, personally, I listen to you every day. I like your show, but you need to have more liberals on.
Agreed.
So we can actually get it out.
Hey, we've been trying to get Jasmine Crockett on. We've reached out to the Democrat Party of Dallas County, Democrat Party of Tarrant County, Democrat Party of Collin County, and we get the same thing. Yeah, sure, we'll come on sometime. Here, why don't you send us an email with more information about your show, and I'll get back to you. And I think we've sent three times, and we even know her chief of staff or whoever's answering the emails at the office. Her name's Chloe. Chloe, if you're listening, we'd love to have Jasmine on. I agree, Eddie. I would like to have more liberals and Democrats on the show too.
Yes, because I feel like just, the liberal party, we got the gay stuff. I don't agree with none of that wild gay stuff. And then, the conservative, you got the mega party and, that whole, talking crazy. I just don't agree with that. Both sides got it. I'm going to just say that. I'm very open-minded to a lot of things, but I just been Team Blue since I was born. So
right. Well, listen, none of my friends, none of my Democrat friends that are brothers are down with like the trans movement. None of y'all think that men can have babies. So you're not really on that same side of the divide. But I guess it's not enough to lose your vote.
But I'm just saying, we got cigarettes, we got alcohol. Why we just can't legalize marijuana? I just hate the whole control thing in America. Everything is controlled. You could go to a third world country and eat better than you can eat here. We don't. It's just like the government. Nobody protects us. We have no protection.
Well,
schools are trash.
Right. Hey, listen, I'm a libertarian. So how far are you willing to go on legalizing drugs? Would you be willing to legalize all drugs or just weed?
Nah, just low class stuff.
Not cocaine, not fentanyl.
Just low class stuff. No, nothing else. No pills, because you got the pharmacists issuing out pills. They don't even ask you about your diet or anything. Your pharmacist, your drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? Come on, keep it real.
Now, did you know about Tim Walz before this week?
No.
Yeah, I didn't either, so don't feel bad. Well, no, Eddie, I'm honored that you're a lefty who listens every day, because I try not to be someone who's unlistenable to half of the audience out there. That doesn't seem like a good plan for someone who's trying to get high ratings. So I appreciate you calling in. Thank you, Eddie.
I appreciate it.
All right, let's stick with the phones here. Martin in Euless. If you want to be after Martin, 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. What's on your mind, Martin? You're on WBAP.
I'd like to point out that during the repeal of Roe versus Wade, Democrats were claiming that they were not for abortion up till the time of birth. With the selection of Tampon Tim, not only have they proven that they were lying then, but they have cemented the fact that they are for abortion up to the time of birth and even after. This man signed the bill to do that very thing in his state. Well, thank you for taking my call.
Yeah. And I hate to be so nuanced about it, but most Democrats are not for full-term abortions. A lot of the people who are standing on platforms and in positions of leadership are, but very few people are actually pro-choice. And this is a fun little exercise I do with my liberal friends. When they say they're for abortion, I ask them about partial birth abortion. I'm like, what if the mom's already gone into labor and right before the baby comes out, you just hit it in the head with an ice pick and shop vac its brains out and it plops out? Is that okay with you? And they're like, oh my God, no. And I'm like, okay, so you don't believe in partial birth abortion. So you don't believe life begins at birth. You believe sometime before that. Guess what? You're no longer fully pro-choice. You're in the gray area with the rest of America. So there's only like 9, maybe 11% of the country that is actually pro-choice. And on the other side, there's only about 9, maybe 10% of the country that is absolutely anti-abortion in all cases. So it's about 80% or so, maybe 75% of the country that is in that gray area in the middle. And there's not really a party that supports that, because that didn't get any votes. People don't get real excited. That's not a single issue vote if you're in the gray area. But there's, the 10% on either fringe. You can either completely capture their vote or completely lose their vote based on your abortion stance. And the parties have chosen their sides. Do I have time? Yeah, I have time for another one. Thank you very much for your call, Martin and Euless. This will be Don in Grand Prairie. You're on WBAP. Go, Don.
I'm an independent voter. I never voted straight ticket in my life, and in fact, last time I voted for Trump in 2020. I will never vote for Trump again after what happened in 2020, because if he would have said, "Hey," if he would admit that he lost, because he'll never admit he loses. If he would admit he lost, like Gore did, that attack at the Capitol never would have happened if he would have said, "Hey, I'm here to help the new guy. A new administration is coming in. I'm going to respect our stuff. So I'm not going to vote for Trump ever again. I'd vote Libertarian or whatever, anything before him." But as a person who votes, both sides, Trump was going to win. He was going to kill Sleepy Joe, as I called him. But with Kamala coming in now, because people didn't want Trump and Biden rematch, and now they got something new, and you see the energy coming in. With what's going on, unless there's some huge scandal coming in, Harris is going to win.
Which way you voting?
I'll vote for Harris. If it was Biden and Trump, I would have voted for Trump or Libertarian. But Biden's too old. He was too old. But now with Harris coming in, I mean, I voted. I voted for Barack Obama in 2008. I voted for Romney in 2012, and I voted for Trump in 2020.
Man, you are an interesting guy. You're all over the map.
I believe if you want to own a gun, you should own the gun. But I believe in background checks, too, because I used to be a probation officer. You know what I'm saying? And how do you stop a sex offender if you don't do a background check from buying a gun? You know what I'm saying? But if a law-abiding citizen like me wants to own a gun or two, not a problem. I also believe in the balanced budget amendment. But I also agree that if a woman gets pregnant, especially if she gets raped, if she wants to have an abortion, especially in the first few months, not a problem. That's her choice. Not in the last 3 months. Like most people who are pro-choice like me, we do not agree in abortion in the last 3 months unless it's, the life of the mother's in jeopoly, which most people who are pro-choice are in that mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, almost everybody, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm in I believe in the balanced budget amendment. I believe in, you want to own a gun. I'm also pro-choice. I believe also that, look out for the working man versus I got family members that are gay. I don't care if somebody's gay. That's their right. If they want to get married, that's their choice. But on this, women in sport, transgender people in sports, no. If you were born a woman, you compete as a woman. If you're born as a man, you compete as a man. You know what I'm saying? So I'm on that spectrum on both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you seem like you would have been really happy during Bill Clinton's run. That sounds like the kind of Democrat you are.
Yeah, I'm what they call either like a Reagan Democrat or whatever you'd call that. You know what I'm saying? Or they call Clinton Republicans. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting stuff. Well, then it's good to hear from you.
Here's the thing. I also think that Kamala brought energy in, and there's going to be the attacks and everything like that, but Biden was going to lose. And Trump was going to win. But I think now Harris being young, and people are tired of Trump.
I'm out of time, sir. I'm sorry.
Okay, later, man.
All right.
Thanks for the call.
Hey, thank you for calling in. That's Don in Grand Prairie. Good job. Coming up next, there's an event happening tomorrow from the ladies of Concerned Women for America. I'll tell you more about that coming up on the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I'm your host, James Parker. Tomorrow, a group called Concerned Women for America. It's one of the nation's largest public policy women's organization. They're going to have a rally in Hearst. They have a big pink bus on a battleground bus tour, which feels weird because Texas isn't a battleground state, but I get what you're saying. And the event's called She Prays, She Votes. They've teamed up with Patriot Mobile, and they're on a tour of 11 states to encourage Christian women to get out there and vote and get their voices heard in this election. I like the sound of that. All right, now from Concerned Women of America, let's welcome in my guest, Macy Petty. Welcome to the James Show. Wait, do I have that?
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, that label is right. Making sure I just didn't read the wrong notes there. All right, so tell me about this event. It's at 11 a.m. tomorrow in Hearst. Who is it for?
Yes, we are bringing the big pink bus into Hearst. It'll be at Embrace Grace at 11:30 a.m. It'll be a great time. We'll be serving a lunch there. It's for any families who want to come by and are passionate about protecting biblical principles. Obviously, that happens in an array of ways, but we're going to be talking about promoting biblical principles and constitutional values at the voting booths. And so we'll be encouraging Christians to be responsible citizens, to help ensure fair elections by signing up to be poll workers and poll watchers, and encouraging their fellow citizens to vote this fall.
Okay, so besides obviously abortion, because you're having this at a pregnancy resource center, what else are y'all promoting as biblical policies?
Yes, we do have a strong stance on life. We are also a pro-Israel organization. That is something that we believe strongly as Christians. We are also about protecting sex-based protections. I am a female athlete. I just graduated from playing college volleyball. I've had to play against a boy who identified as transgender. So we've seen women on the front lines who are facing these issues across the country, and we want to just go on this bus tour, help give them a voice, and connect them with the resources that they need to stand firmly this fall in the upcoming election. Yeah,
tell the people listening a little bit about your background and how you got rolled up into this. You're younger than you sound.
Well, thank you. Yes, I'm 22 years old. I just completed my senior year at college, where I played 4 years of NCAA volleyball. I had to play against a boy who identified as transgender during my recruiting process. So I've graduated now, so that was over 5 years ago now. This wasn't really a debate happening on the national stage, but It really showed me the things that I took for granted, things like, boys playing on boys' teams and girls playing on girls' teams. But that requires that you acknowledge basic truths and fundamental things like God created us male and female. And so I realized just how important it is that we do stand strong on those principles. And so I got involved with Young Women for America, which is the college and high school arm of Concerned Women for America. And they helped amplify my voice and helped me share my story. And I'm so blessed to now join them full time and going coast to coast with them on the bus tour this summer.
Whose idea was it to do the bus tour? Is this something they regularly do and I just hadn't noticed before?
This is a regular event for Concerned Women for America. They've done it, I believe, 11 times now, typically around an election cycle.
Okay, so what's going to happen at this event?
Yeah, participants will come. Like I said, we'll be serving lunch, and they'll hear from national speakers like our president and CEO, Penny Nance, as well as some local speakers who can speak to the issues that Texans are facing here locally. And they'll also get a wonderful She Prays, She Votes T-shirt and stickers, and they'll get to sign the bus. It's a great event.
Wait, you spoke a little fast there. The T-shirt is She Prays, She Votes?
She Prays, She Votes. Yes, that's the name of our event.
What's the cost?
They're totally free. Yep, we're welcoming everyone. The more the merrier. Free lunch, free shirts. It's great.
All right. And the location, Embrace Grace, it's a pregnancy resource center. If you look it up, you can find it, but it's on Bedford Euless Road in Hearst.
That's right. All the information can be found at concernedwomen.org/SPSV.
Well, listen, I can't be there because it's at 11:30 in the morning and I have work to do. But if you don't have anything else to do and this looks like something that's up your alley, where can they find more information, Macy?
It's at concernedwomen.org/SPSV or on our social medias, Concerned Women.
All right. If you go look online, they do have a gigantic pink bus. Are y'all watching the Olympics? Are y'all keeping a good eye on the women's boxing for us? How you liking that?
We have, yeah. We are discouraged to see the national stage be filled with men beating up women and the glorification of female violence, but that's why we're fighting for what we believe in.
All right. Thanks again. This is Macy Petty, Concerned Women for America. Thanks for being on the James Show, and good luck with your event tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Right. And keep us in mind next time you're having an event in the DFW area. Let me know.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Macy. Macy Petty, Concerned Women for America. That's an event in Hearst tomorrow, 11:30. All right. Back to some highlights from the election. When we return, you're going to hear a couple of sound bites from the rallies yesterday, and we'll compare and contrast with that from some of the analysts, and we're going to have a good giggle together in about 5 minutes. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. As Decision 2024 limps along, we have seen the talking point of weird. This one little focused word that just came up a couple weeks ago. The origin of this weird focus is actually the guy who was chosen to be VP. When you go trace back ground zero, who was the first guy to start this whole weird phase, it was Tim Walz. Well, good. Maybe he's the one who can make things catch on. Maybe he is a thought leader. Maybe he is someone the mindless automatons can parrot for the next 3 months and get them over the finish line. So the weird thing, when we first discovered it last week, you and I were marveling about how quickly everyone can just get on the same page. It's almost as if they have like a meeting or like a group text that we don't know about, but they don't have to. They've been training themselves. They've been training themselves. So it's almost like a auto grooming process. These people can't wait to jump on the next talking point fast enough. But it stuck. Here we are. If we're still talking about it a week later, well, then now we have to deal with it. Is this going to work? I bring you Joy Reid, who was on with Rachel Maddow, and bringing up the weird thing, and also this idea that J.D. Vance and Trump, and by proxy, probably you, just based totally on hate, all on hate, and you're weird on top of that.
They would harm America greatly if they had power back, but they're also just weird. And in that moment, you sort of said, wait a minute. The way that we've been sort of thinking about Trump and his power, he doesn't have it yet. At the moment, he's just like a weird guy that's in Mar-a-Lago, maybe with some classified documents in the bathroom, right? That's got this odd friend that wants to like
ban birth control,
right? And that hates women with cats and no kids. It's like, wait a minute, we all have cat lady, right? Like, what are you doing? You're like making a demon out of unmarried women and women with pets. Like, it's just they're so bizarre. That beyond the fact that they have Project 2025, that if enacted would turn the whole country into Mississippi. But at the moment, they're just a bunch of weird, angry, humorless men that don't particularly seem to like anybody else in this country.
And what Tim...
All right, first off, I am not humorless. And really, I'm not angry. And I've tried to explain to some of my lefty friends, and for the 20-30% of the audience that considers themselves lefty that's listening right now, I can't stress this enough. We do not hate you. We do not sit around seething with rage over people of a different color or ethnicity or gender or whatever mix of the variables that I just listed. No, we're not driven on hate. I'm driven by, I want the government to be smaller, and I want to get them off my back and off your back and off everybody's back. I want lower taxes. I want less bureaucrats. I want less rules. I want less laws. I want less people in prison. That's what I want. Does that sound really hateful? No, it's not really hateful. But they say it so much. And here's the obvious pushback. Is J.D. Vance really the weird one? The married guy with 3 kids? And, you know, he can't say it's based on race. He married an immigrant and has mixed kids. So you can't throw the race angle out there. How is he weird? How is he weird in the opening ceremony of the Olympics? That's not weird. How is J.D. Vance weird when every time you guys have some sort of rally, it looks like the bar scene from Star Wars? But we're the weird ones. So I don't think Joy Reid actually thinks they're weird. I don't think Rachel Maddow thinks that J.D. Vance, or by proxy, you are weird. You're the normal one out of this societal pie chart. You know, the 2% of the population that identifies as gay. I'm not saying they're weird as in, oh, they're dysfunctional and are some disparate other. But when 98% of the people are straight, that's kind of the norm, right? That's the opposite of weird. That's what normal is. When an overwhelming majority of the people share a characteristic, that characteristic is what the definition of normal is. So I don't think she really believes it, but she wants you to believe it. She wants people watching to believe it. She wants undecided voters to believe it. And they do this over and over. They get on TV and they don't actually say what they mean. They just use their platform to try and manipulate the people watching in ways that will help them politically, help them in their career aspirations, help them socially, be a better activist, and so they can brag at cocktail parties about how awesome they are and how effective their messaging is. Well, when you're more worried about how effective your messaging is and not whether or not it's accurate, that's what we call Machiavellian. And I hate to use too many complex words or thoughts or obscure labels like this because not everyone knows what it is. So I have a clip of Jordan Peterson explaining it in about a minute, what this Machiavellian means, what I mean when I say they're Machiavellian.
Machiavellian. So like a Machiavellian individual in preparing for an interview like this would be thinking, okay, well, now I'm going to go on Bill's show. What can I get out of it? Right. How can I elevate my status? What could I use to sell? And then every word would be crafted to extract. Well, every word would be used to extract out something that was only self-serving. Right. You know that if your dialogue with someone goes well, what happens is you fall into an honest conversation. But a Machiavellian would be manipulating the conversation constantly to get an edge, to get an angle. And so they don't use a Machiavellian doesn't use their words to represent what they believe to be true. They use their words to obtain whatever they're angling for from the person they're talking to. And so that happens on the sexual front, for example, very often. So people who are hyper committed to short-term mating strategies tend to use instrumental language, right? They're manipulative. So psychopathic, Machiavellian, narcissistic. So someone who's narcissistic wants unearned social status. And there's a very high correlation between the dark tetrad personality traits and left-wing authoritarianism. So that's why I think it's not fundamentally political, is that what's happening is that there's a small minority of people who are very manipulative, who use compassion as a camouflage. And then people who are generally and genuinely compassionate, they can be manipulated easily. And that's why you're seeing, that's part of the reason you're seeing this deviation from more classical liberalism. There's no better camouflage for someone who's truly dark than compassion.
There it is. Jordan Peterson explained to Bill Maher, Machiavellian. And the reason I'm playing that is because so many times I've observed, especially in the media, the left accuses the right of being racist, sexist, bigot, homophobe. That's what they think of you. You think you're dumb or you're duped or you are a racist or you're genuinely driven by fear and hatred. What do we think? What does the right side think of the left side? Well, some of you are absolute Marxist psychopaths, but most of you, 80% of you, are just being duped by a bunch of Machiavellian narcissists in the media, and you're going to snap out of it one day. We're just trying to accelerate that process. But most people grow out of it. Can we just speed you up and get that going a little faster? We find you frustrating, but we don't hate you. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Anthony Russo from the Truth Will Set You Free podcast is coming up next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. All right, election 2024 moves right along, and it gets so corny. Isn't it so? It's you're almost embarrassed. It's very cringe. It's very nerdy. I was just flipping through social media on the break. I answered a handful of questions and comments, and then I was just seeing if any news had popped off. And they're circulating some photos of Tim Walz on a duck hunting trip, and he's got all the gear on. He's got on a Carhartt jacket. He's got on a tactical vest. He's got on wading chaps. He's got on the bright orange knit cap, little orange flare on his vest. He's got on the camo gloves. He's got on a pair of jeans. He's holding what? Oh, that's not a duck. Was that, a pheasant? Whatever. None of it has just a smudge of dirt on it. Not even like a ketchup stain from his French fries. It's like, if you're going to stage a photo like he's some outdoorsy guy just like you, I just hang out in the woods all day and I go hunting. I'm just like you. I'm not some crazy guy up here in socialist ivory tower. I'm down here and I'll go do some hunting. Why don't you have one speck of dirt on your hunt? Like, I'm not even sure if he shot that. It's almost like someone went out and shot that bird and brought it back to him and be like, hey, hold this in one hand and we'll have a shotgun in your other hand. We'll just pretend like you did it. It's so weird. Like, can't you be better at this? Like when they had Mitt Romney grilling hot dogs on hot dog day and he still had like the folds in his apron. It's like, we know you just opened that apron 5 minutes before the Anthony Russo, the host of Truth Will Set You Free podcast. I know I shouldn't be getting upset about such cringy moments because it's going to be happening all day, every day for the next 2.5 months. But I don't know. I'm just easily triggered these days, I suppose. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm with you. I was about to warn your producer, like, there might need to be that 5-second delay, because this is like watching these people pretend as though this guy is folksy and normal, ignoring the ridiculous thing that Coach Walz does. It literally, the only way you can respond to the fact that it's actually working on some of the dumb American population. I hate to call names. It's frustrating.
Well, let's not call them dumb. They're easily duped, but it can't even, I don't even want to be that mean, because, there's a lot of people working very hard to make sure they never see the other side from the point of view of the other side. But man, I'm usually
really nice. But right. This one's teetering on dumb. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But look, these are the people that were convinced to wear a mask. Like, I saw a lady, I swear to yesterday, on my way into work from Bug Tussle, there was a lady wearing a mask in her car by herself. And this is 2024. This is 4 years later. This is over a year after the Cochrane study came out, and everyone knows masks do nothing. There are some people that just can't wait to be duped. They can't get duped hard enough.
You're right. And it is. It's like, what else do you do besides like exhale and breathe? But watching their Pennsylvania address yesterday, there is no platform. They are literally just talking about Coach Walz, Coach this, avid hunter that also wants to take everybody's guns away. There is no platform on the Democrat Party. They're strictly trying to build up somebody's character. And honestly, again, to kind of cross the lines here, this is a guy that is so ultra left when it comes to children's sex changes that keep heralding as a teacher and a coach. I'm like, I'm not going to lie, I'm getting some Jerry Sandusky vibes from him. I hate to say it. Let's be honest.
Well, we don't have to throw in the idea that he might be Yeah, Sandusky-esque. His policies are enough of a reason to not like the guy. And I don't know why I'm so turned off by stage photo ops. I've seen them every election now. I should be used to them. The other thing I've noticed, Anthony, is last time we were on, we were making fun of the idea that all of a sudden everyone's using the term weird. Here we are a week later, they're still using it. Has this term stuck?
Well, it had to. I think that's part of the reason. I mean, there's some issues with Shapiro based on the fact their base is anti-Semitic, but the fact is, Walz is the one that coined the phrase "weird." He is a weird guy. Like, he's weird himself, and is the ultimate Democrat speaking point, which is let's blame them. Like the whole thing of like they're trying to take your democracy. Walz taking democracy and not allowing there to even be a primary. And then now you've got a guy that said it, who is, once you get into his policies and what he's done, he's weird, and he was the one that started the whole phrase of being weird. And we know that's not even touching on the stolen valor part, which is a valid argument that I'm seeing a lot of people in the service step up and say, this is not okay, and this is the selection that they made, because I don't know why they didn't go with Mark Kelly. I don't know, but I can see the Shapiro argument from the left, but I just, this is a surprise, and it shows that they know that the media will carry their water.
Well, if we try and think about it from the other side, if you are on Team Blue, you probably like Tim Walz. He probably lines up pretty good with you, but are you of the part of the party that's okay with, say, tampons in men's bathrooms? I know some Team Blue members that aren't. In fact, I had one call earlier today that said he's not for it, but he's still going to be voting for Kamala.
See, I actually don't think he aligns with the predominance of the blue. He aligns with the far left version, which is why their initial this initial spike in the money that they're raising, this initial spike is by making him look like a normal middle class American that just so happens to be a Democrat. They're not playing up all the policies that he did. That, I mean, his whole speech last night, it was more about him as a teacher and a coach, which again, I don't think that makes China and Iran shaking their boots per se, but they're trying to make him this normal middle class folksy guy that also shames middle class, lower class, that ended up getting out of it and going to Yale. There's so many things wrong with it, but I think they're trying to avoid some of his radical beliefs because they're trying to make him out to be a moderate, which he is as far from moderate as humanly possible.
All right, Anthony Russo, Truth Will Set You Free podcast. How do they find you outside of WBAP?
Truth Will Set You Free USA on all the social media platforms. Sorry that I came in a little hot today. I apologize. This one's just, it's mind-boggling to me that we got here.
I'm a little irritated too, but it happens sometimes. We're allowed to be irritated. We're humans. All right, coming up next, we'll continue some of the sound bites from Decision 2024, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on Tim Walz. A poll that just came out today says 71% of the voting electorate doesn't have an opinion on Tim Walz. Good. At least they're honest. What do you think? 800-288-9227. It's The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to the big show. If you want to call in, if you got any comments on what's going on with Decision 2024, it's 800-288-9227. This isn't a monologue. This is a discussion. 800-288-9227. Just a reminder from a guest that we had on earlier, if you might have missed it, it's probably something someone out there is interested in. Tomorrow morning at 11:30 at this place in Hearst, they're going to have the She Prays, She Votes Battleground Bus Tour. It's a group called the Concerned Women for America. They're a Christian political advocacy group focused on women. They're on some sort of tour in a giant pink bus. But there's going to be some food out there and a couple of speakers, and they're just trying to get everyone to the polls November 5th and also recruit people as election poll workers and watchers. And something I should have mentioned when she was on is a lot of people call in and ask, what can I do? What should I do? I don't know why you're asking a radio host, but one thing I recommend is we need more election poll workers and watchers. And you know, I think we got it pretty well covered here. If you could go be a poll watcher or an election worker in Fulton County, Georgia, that would be great. But yeah, that was Concerned Women for America. Look, in the campaign trail, there's something I've been warning about. For Team Red, you got to stay off of the ad hominem attacks. I know it's not fair that they can go out and they can talk about how weird you are all day, every day, and it doesn't seem to hurt them any. But this is the advantage they have when the majority of the media and intelligentsia and academia and Hollywood and musicians and celebrities, when they're all on your side and can sway social media. You do not need to be giving them any little juicy clips because like Trump did it the other day, where after an hour or so speech, they just go back and they clip out the 12 seconds where he mentions her race and gender. And then that's their headline. You can't even do that. You have to be disciplined to the point of no tolerance. There should be no mention of anything other than their policies. I'm not sure about this. Does this count, though? J.D. Vance on this stolen valor stuff. And I think I might be missing the boat on this because I'm not a military veteran. I was never in this stuff, so I don't know what all this means. I don't know what the medals on your chest mean. I don't know what those ribbons mean. I don't know what the rankings are. I know private's like the bottom and general's the top, but all the stuff in the middle, I don't know, man. I really don't know, and I don't think it should matter because the person who follows my policy preferences but has a lower rank than a socialist who, I don't know. This is what I'm warning against, though. This criticism from J.D. Vance yesterday.
As a Marine who served his country in uniform, when the United States Marine Corps, when the United States of America asked me to go to Iraq to serve my country, I did it. I did what they asked me to do it, and I did it honorably, and I'm very proud of that service. When Tim Walz was asked by his country to go to Iraq, you know what he did? He dropped out of the Army and allowed his unit to go without him because he said that and he was making a point about gun control. He said we shouldn't allow weapons that I used in war to be on America's streets. Well, I wonder, Tim Walz, when were you ever in war? What was this weapon that you carried into war, given that you abandoned your unit right before they went to Iraq, and he has not spent a day in a combat zone? What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage. Do not pretend to be something that you're not. I'd be ashamed if I was him and I lied about my military service like he did.
What do you think about that? Does that bother you? Do you think that's effective? Now, I complain about it, but I can also acknowledge that I might be wrong because the stolen valor themes against John Kerry in 2004, I think that was effective. I think that did change some minds. I think that did, if not convince some people to vote against him, at least have the people who were already voting against him be a little more enthusiastic in their turnout. Does that kind of stuff work on you? Because it doesn't really work on me, but it's better than what they were doing 2 days ago when they were saying, well, he said he was like a master sergeant, but then the paperwork didn't come through, and after he was retired, he was demoted back down to some other sergeant. I don't know what any of those sergeants are. I don't know. How many sergeants are there? I thought there was just like sergeant. I know there's more: master sergeant, gunnery sergeant, drill sergeant. I don't know. I really don't. Don't care either. Doesn't seem to matter. Does he want to balance the budget? I don't care what sergeant, corporal, Autobot, Decepticon. I don't know what it is. Just does he want to like limit the size of the government? Does he want to cut the budget? Does he want to control spending? Does he want to lower taxes? Does he want to lower registration? I don't care if he was Major Payne. And it starts to sound like, and again, I admit my shortcomings as a guy who's not a veteran. I don't see the importance in this ranking stuff because I didn't live it. I understand, but it starts to sound like I stamped it. No, I double stamped it. No, I triple stamped it. No, you can't triple stamp and double stamp. That's what it sounds like to some of us. I can't be the only one.
You're it. Quincy's. Any Quincy's. You're it. Quincy's. No, any Quincy's, no startsies. You can't do that. Can't do. Cannot. Stamped it. Can't do double stamped it, no erases. Cannot. Triple stamped it, no erases. Tough blue, make it through. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd, you guys, enough.
Pat in Springtown, you're on WBAP. Go.
Yeah, my name is Pat. I'm a retired Army Command Sergeant Major. And on the subject of the stolen valor, Walz, is shameful. First of all, only 2% of our nation serve in uniform. Of that 2%, make it to Command Sergeant Major. Very select. Education assignments kind of drive that. It's the cream of the crop. So to get selected for Command Sergeant Major and not complete the school, you will not maintain that rank. It's ranked that the title Command Sergeant Major is removed from you, and that's why he's a retired, or he went out as a Master Sergeant. But to put on his Wikipedia that he's his highest rank, his Command Sergeant Major, is totally false. It's shameful. It shows no class, especially for the guys that have earned it.
Okay, so what's the rank?
It's a huge mistake.
What rank is he actually? Like, what can he call himself? If he can't call himself a sergeant major, what is he? Pat, you still with me?
Yeah, I got dumped out somehow.
Okay,
sorry.
So he's not a sergeant major. What is he?
So he would be a master sergeant.
Okay, now
which is a great accomplishment, but to say that you're a command sergeant major and you're not, it's stolen valor.
Right, but I think this sounds like if you told my wife, it's like he's not a free safety, he's a strong safety. It's totally different. She would just roll her eyes and be like, I don't care.
Well, for the guys that serve, it does matter because.
Oh, no, I get that. And I'm admitting my shortcomings. How do you make the people who didn't serve, how are we supposed to view this? How are we supposed to care about that? Do you understand how, like, this is over our heads? Not that we're better or we're above it. We're actually under it. This is over our heads.
So it'd be like comparing a Super Bowl champion to a first-year guy in the minor leagues.
It's that, just this one rank happens to be that big of a gulf.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
The command sergeant major is the senior enlisted advisor to the commander. That could be a colonel or that could be a general. So that's when you see the old guy with all the stripes sitting next to the general officer, that's a command sergeant major. He'll have a star with a wreath around it.
All right, real quick, I got like 30 seconds here. The criticism that he was in the military for like 25 years until he got called to Iraq and then he dropped out. Is that legit?
That's totally shameful. That's irresponsible.
Is that how it happened, or is there possibly another explanation, like he was of retirement age? It's just a coincidence. There's nothing else that can explain that other than cowardice?
I don't see where he retired, so to me, it's cowardice.
Okay, good.
It's no honor.
Pat, that's exactly what we needed. Since I'm not a veteran, I could not speak in any depth on this, and you filled in those gaps. That was Pat in Springtown. Thank you very much. If you want to be next, 800-288-9227. It's The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome back to The Big Show. You know, there's a lot going on in the political world just besides Tim Walz and J.D. Vance and Trump and Kamala. We had some other elections happening. There was a primary that just knocked out Cori Bush, the Democratic representative from Missouri, in her St. Louis district last night. She got booted. So, okay, maybe having the most lefty senator from 2019 as the top of the ticket and an equally lefty running mate, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, as the backup on the ticket. Maybe that's not going to resonate here in a few months. Let's ask Tommy Pickett from the RNC. Welcome back to the James Show. Your response to one of the squad members losing their primary yesterday.
Well, I think it shows just how out of step that the squad is when it comes to the American people, that they're even losing their primaries. I think, though, that somebody should tell Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris seems determined to embrace all of the policies that the squad has put forward, including being anti-Israel, including the Green New Deal, including the open border, including defund the police. So the squad is losing their primaries, but it seems like Kamala Harris is still taking her cues from them.
Yeah, and the squad has been an interesting group to watch, because what makes them the squad is that they do deviate from the rest of the Democrat mainstream on a handful of very contentious issues. And from my point of view, I think one of the big things that sunk them was their support of Palestine full-throated over Israel.
I think that was a major part of it. And I think it's because the American people saw the heinous attack that Hamas conducted against Israel, the people that Hamas killed, and said that we need to stop these brutal terrorists. We need to allow Israel to go out and defend itself, and we need to stand by Israel. The American people saw that. But unfortunately, the Democrat Party, even though we're seeing these results in the primary, the Democrat Party and these elected officials seem to still be taking their cues from the pro-Hamas left. We've seen that with the pro-Hamas left really preferring Walz as the VP nominee, and Harris went with Walz. So I think even though we're seeing these primary losses, that should be a signal to Democrats, but they seem to be taking the opposite one, and they seem to be really bending the knee to the pro-Hamas left.
So Rashida Tlaib survived her primary challenge earlier this year. Isn't there another one that has their primary? Is it Ilhan Omar? She could still be primaried out?
I believe it's either Ilhan Omar or Ayanna Pressley. I'd have to double check exactly which one it is, but I think Ilhan Omar is correct, but I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, no, I just saw it right here. Rep. Ilhan Omar has a primary challenge next week. So that's what we're looking at. And the reason why I'm sort of focusing on this is because that is the more deeper blue part of the Democrat constituency that sort of lines up with Kamala and Tim Walz more so than, say, a Nancy Pelosi or a Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, and Ilhan Omar is very happy that Tim Walz was picked. I mean, she's posting a ton about it, how it's really ideologically similar with her. I think that should be a warning sign for every American that's looking at this ticket. Ultimately, it does again show how out of step the squad is with the American people. And I think, again, it's concerning that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, even seeing these results, are still taking their cues from them, the farthest left presidential ticket in modern American history. So even though the squad seems to be losing these primaries, they're still exercising influence in D.C. of the Democrat Party. It's really hard to explain why the Democrat Party leaders seem to be taking their cues from them, but they are. So I can only hope for the good of the country that the Democrat leaders stop taking their cues from the squad, but everything else points to the opposite.
So I'm surprised the weird talking point on J.D. Vance and Trump has stuck for at least a week. Is this an effective tack?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily stuck. It's just something the left keeps on repeating. And to be honest, I don't know how much they have left to repeat because they can't run on the border, can't run on the economy, they can't run on foreign policy. So all they have is this middle school style attack, if you can even call it that. But honestly, if they want to have this debate on who's weird, I think they lose that one and they lose it by a wide margin. Just looking at their policies alone, I think people think it's weird to embrace socialism. People think it's weird to want open borders. People think it's weird to want to defund the police. I think they really lose the weird argument, but I think the reason why they keep on saying it is because they really have nothing else to say.
Well, one other thing that is concerning is after the assassination attempt on Trump, have they stepped up security? Has changes been made? Is it more secure? Is that something that Trump and Vance can go through and not have to worry about? And then I see J.D. Vance, some pictures from him on a tarmac today, and the let's say fluffy, short Secret Service agent that got a lot of negative attention after the Trump shooting, the one that had trouble holstering her gun, looks like she's on J.D. Vance's detail currently. Is that a bad sign?
Well, look, I think two things here. First, I think the people that ran forward and covered President Trump with their bodies, were willing to take a bullet for him, showed great bravery in doing so. And I think the second part of that is there are real questions of why anyone was put in that position, forced to use their bodies to shield President Trump, why President Trump's life was put in danger, the failures there when it came to securing that venue. President Trump has talked about changes he has seen from the Secret Service that he has said he's happy with. He's going to keep doing outdoor rallies. We're seeing the investigation in Congress to make sure we have answers for why there were those failures. What happened on that Saturday never should have happened. We need to make sure it never happens again. And we need to make sure that we're getting answers in order to prevent that from happening again. But like I said, President Trump has said he has seen some changes, that he's happy with those changes, but that President Trump and J.D. Vance are going to keep on going out, having outdoor rallies, and keep on talking to the American people.
Tommy Pigott, Tim Walz signed a bill that supports putting tampons in the bathrooms for young boys, even in middle school. Are you under the impression that a 9-year-old boy would need a tampon?
I mean, talk about weird, right? I mean, they want to have that discussion. I mean, it really is. It's kind of like they're not going to win that one. I don't really understand why they're going with that. I mean, the fact that that's even the priority. I mean, Walz could not bother to stop Minneapolis from being burned by rioters. He did absolutely nothing, but his priority is trying to put tampons in middle school boys' bathrooms and younger. I mean, it's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah. Why are you so weird, Tommy? Why do you not like that? How do they find you outside of the James Show? Thanks for being on, by the way.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Tommy Pigott, there he is. Your thoughts, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. Even if he did have a romantic liaison with a sofa, that's still not as weird as handing a 9-year-old boy a tampon, just in case. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.